Hello, everyone, and welcome to this live stream. Well, it's not just a live stream, it's also a special celebration. We're here to kick off this Q&A with our guests, who are both alumni and incredibly talented storytellers. Let's kick off this interview with Alex Ferrufino and David Mansanalez, whose film Slipping into Darkness is playing now on a little-known network known as HBO. Thank you so much for being here, you guys.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. So we're going to be fielding questions throughout the interview. So anybody who's watching the live stream, please do write your question in the Q&A box. So we'll be jumping over to there periodically. But before we dive into details, let's take a peek at the powerful world these two, along with their talented cast and crew, were able to create for us all to enjoy. This is the trailer for Slipping into Darkness.
What's up, son? You finally found some time to come see your old man.
No, Dad. I'm only here because Mom wouldn't stop bugging me to come see you.
Oh, come on. I really don't want this to be like this.
Got your little family, little job. It's good to see you doing good, though, man.
How are we past doing our rent? Is there something you're not telling me?
I can help you get some real paper.
I ain't even trying to play that game, homie.
I'm trying to get you paid. You know where to find me.
We opened 2 hours late because of you.
Come on, it was an accident.
Hey, man, come in. You and my friend are to be doing drop-offs and pickups.
I don't think I can go to Boyle Heights anymore.
We ain't going nowhere, bro.
You're a good man.
You don't even know me.
You're a good man. You're nothing like me, and I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
Bravo.
Bravo, you guys. I gotta say, this movie is so good, and the trailer is so good, it makes me want to watch it all over again.
Thank you.
And before we dive into the details of the movie, let's jump in and learn a little bit about both of you guys. You've been both working together for quite a while. How did you guys first meet?
We met in 2012 at the film school. We met in 2012, I think. I was helping out a teacher at the time, and then David had this class that I was helping out in. We just kicked it off from there. We vibed, we liked each other, we had an understanding and the same similar background in a crazy way, and we just clicked since 2012.
I won't really go there. You know, I walked in, I was tatted, he was tatted. I said, who's that fool, you know? No, but honestly, he was really talented, and we, like he said, we just started talking, and it was about relating to someone. You know, I walked in and someone else that is Latino tatted in this industry, and I was like, oh, cool. And you know, he's working for the instructor, and he obviously knows what he's doing, so that gave me a reason to approach him and ask questions, because I felt like I could relate to someone right there. So that first was the first start, like starting the bond, you know?
It's awesome. And yeah. So you guys, you hit it off. You both had tattoos, so it was like instant chemistry.
That was it, bro.
That's right.
It was familiar. He felt
absolutely. And so you forged that working relationship from a strong friendship. What would you guys say that you've learned, or what tips can you offer about working as a team? David Mansanalez as writer, and we have Eric Ferrufino, the director.
You know, really, I mean, I come from a military background as well, and a large family, so there's always people involved or around or something. And I feel something like this, working in different industries, this one's really collaborative. And when you create something, you have to be able to trust who you're working with. You know, I think I could speak for Alex and the rest of my team, that we've worked with other people, and we still continue to broaden our network and work with other people. But for why we mesh so well is like, I trust Alex's vision, or I trust my teammate Oliver or John, and I have to give them, like, if I wrote it, I have to allow them to be creative too. It's not the David show, you know. And I think big projects like that, you have to be able to share the vision and let people know we're all doing it, and it's not just the one man show.
Yeah, and off of that, like, one of the things for myself is patience. Like, having patience and trusting is for sure one of the key elements, but also having patience. And I think since 2012 and until now, we just improve and we just grow every single time, every single project. It's never a setback. It's always moving forward and trying to figure out how to maneuver, how to navigate working with people and trusting people and making sure we are communicating. Another thing is communication. It's another key. Trusting, patience, and communication are the three fundamentals on my end.
It's amazing. So you've like developed a faith in each other's abilities over time, and by having that faith, that allows you both to flourish creatively.
Yeah. Also creatively, because sometimes we could even like finish our sentences as far as creatively, or same idea is kind of brewing in different ways in our heads. Like, we kind of know now what ticks them creatively and what ticks me creatively, and vice versa with all our partners.
Fantastic. And so you guys met here at the LA Film School. Where do you suggest meeting people to collaborate with, and like what has worked with you, and how have you also grown your team? Any recommendations that you'd have?
Take chances and work with people. Network. I will say this. I love Los Angeles Film School. I'm so glad that was the school I attended. Not just for the knowledge that they opened for me, because they give you the fundamentals, and I think most things that's what it is. It's, you get the fundamentals, but it's what you do with it. But what I will say that I love is the opportunities that are there, but it's up to you to take them. You have people that are grinding too. Are you going to approach them and work with them, or are you going to just be shy and not talk, or are you going to approach an instructor and ask, hey, how can I, and spark a conversation when they're opening the door for that? Or are you going to hold it to yourself? Like, don't be scared and network. Like, that is the biggest thing I could say.
And I imagine too, and I'd like to thank you for your service, for your background in the military really helped to foster that idea of teamwork. And of course, you're a film alum and an entertainment business alum, and we'll kind of go into those details in the future too. And Alex, with your directorship, it really shows very clearly that collaborative spirit has allowed you guys to create a film, and it's on HBO, which is a tremendous accomplishment.
Yes.
And now we are live streaming. This isn't just the way we wanted to do this. It would be preferential for us to do it in person. But let's talk a little bit about the current stay-at-home orders. I know that both of you guys are involved in a lot of volunteer work within your community. How have you guys adapted during this challenging time?
Al? Well, I'll speak real fast. As for community, honestly, I have a ton of boxes in my living room boxed up, because I do a homeless drive every Tuesday out here in Van Nuys, and obviously we've stopped due to the current circumstances. But me and my roommates have taken the time to clean out our closets and really do some spring cleaning. So we have a box of stuff, and it's cool because I still have friends giving me stuff. I say, hey, don't toss it. Like, if it's something that can help someone, give it to me. So that's still moving. And then doing these, connecting with people. The industry is still going to be working when this is over. Be ready,
Yeah, it's crazy to adapting to this. I mean, for everybody's part, crazy. But yeah, we just learn. I think where we come from and where we grew up, we just learn how to adapt in an environment. This is another scenario of adapting. Like David's, keep on collecting stuff to give whenever we do go out in the streets and give it back to them. And yeah, the industry's still working. Like, this is the perfect time to be very creative. It's actually the perfect time to be creative because, you know, above the line networks and all that, they're still working and they're getting ready to, whenever they open the gate, they're going to start seeing projects or what they need to fill, what slots in. You know, everybody has a step back, so they're going to have to fill up slots with programming and content and films, and they have to spend a budget by the end of the year. So there's potentially for people to blossom through this crazy storm and scenario, for sure.
It's very well said, and it's also it says something too, that even as we're in a state of stay-at-home orders, that you're still giving also. Like, the community doesn't stop just because we're not able to go outside in the same way. So I think that's exemplary, and there are people who are in need. So thank you for your volunteer work and for helping the LA community with all of your efforts.
Yeah, and right now we're all helping the communities, just staying at home.
Yeah,
just helping out.
All of the rules.
Wash your hands, people.
That's right. And for a lot of our current students, this is their first time working and learning from home.
Oh yeah.
Do you have any suggestions? You dove into it a little bit, but any suggestions on how to maintain productivity while working from home?
Well, I know me and my team we're holding some strict guidelines to finish up some scripts. A lot of us don't have the luxury to go to school and not work, you know? So there's a lot of changes right now. And right now, with everyone being at home, you should take the time, if you're creative, to focus on that project you put to the side, or that script you've been wanting to finish up or want to start. Like, now's the time to utilize that time, because once everything levels out, you know, I don't want, you know, but once everything opens up, you don't want to be the creative person that says, oh, I wish I would have utilized my time. Like, I wish I would have finished that script. Like, this is the best time for you to be being creative in whatever avenue it is. You can focus on that because you're not going anywhere. You're at home, you know, like, focus on being creative because you have the opportunity to.
It's very well said. How about you, Alex?
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm not a homebody, so it's hard for me. It's hard for me to just sit in one place for that many hours and focus. I'm all over the place. But no, you have to be very disciplined. One of the things you have to be very disciplined in this situation. Like, for example, David has a regimen, pretty much, hey, 5 days a week from this time, and we just push hard just to deliver a project. But you have to adapt. I think it's just adapting to a certain scenario. Like, it's out of my comfort zone, but I just have to adapt and just be patient and just figure a way for me to understand it, for my sense, for Alex's brain to comprehend and how to function throughout it. You know, like, how to work around it, or how to do me in a crazy way, but still manage to be creative.
Right. And how to manage positivity throughout it all.
Oh yeah, dude. For sure.
Are there any what are some parts of your regimen that you guys try to adhere to like maintain that productivity? Is there like a daily? You said that David has a daily routine. So if you could talk a little bit about what your routine's all about.
Well, I get up early. It's always been in me, so I make sure I do all my personal stuff, whether it's workout or whatnot. But me and the team, like I said, we need to deliver a project soon, and since I know none of us are working on other projects, you know, we all check in at 8 a.m. and we don't clock out till 6 p.m. And throughout the whole time, sometimes we do meet together, just us four, at our little office. Other times it's just through something like this, but we're constantly, every day we're checking in to make sure, okay, are we done with these 3 scripts? All right, let's review them. All right, cool. On to the next 2, you know, but we set a guideline and we just utilize this time, like, every day, 9 to 5, say, hey, Work's not done for us, you know.
No, and it's funny because we started a 8 to 5, like a regular 9 to 5 scenario, but you know, once you get into the creative process, it could go on to like 11 at night. Yesterday night we wrapped around almost 12. By the time we all got to our beds, it was 12.
Yeah.
But we started around 8 and went all the way after at 5 just to finish a project. You know, it's just one of those. Once you get the creative juice flowing, it just goes.
And the thing is, you don't know when. You're like, oh, okay, let's start at 8. That's when we all check in, make sure we're accountable. Well, hey, how'd you finish off your episode last night? Where are you at? Do you need help? But then, like, we're together. Some are writing, some aren't. We're just talking over things. But then you might not get the kick till like 5 p.m. And then you're like, oh, what if this happens? Oh, no, that doesn't make sense. And, like, once you're in it, you don't want to stop it, you know? So you just kind of ride it until everyone is like one eye open and you're okay, we should go to sleep. Let's call it a night.
So you set a schedule and you stick to it. So you
we're
personal discipline.
Yeah, yes.
So let's go ahead and move forward into the subject of this live stream, which is your film Slipping into Darkness. First of all, congratulations are in order. If you guys could tell us a little bit about what the process was like getting your short film onto HBO, which is, you know, it's a pretty new network, and not a whole lot of people have watched seasons of Game of Thrones on that network or Westworld. So how did you pull that off, other than, of course, having a spectacular movie?
I think the process started for us just doing a project, you know, me and David being at the office, and he just like, wait, what should we do? And we just started being creative in the office and just starting putting it together. Then as David, as a math scientist, he just went on a trip and then just wrote a script. And then from there, it just a domino effect. And then we started thinking of cast, and I started reaching out to people as he was still doing kind of some rewrites. And we're going back and forth. And I think really when we start getting actors involved is when it got very serious. I'm like, oh, we don't have a budget, but we're shooting this. And then, you know, moving forward, we shot it, we put it together, and then we submitted to festivals. And then even in the festival circuits, it was like a big roller coaster of emotions going through a festival circuit for a full year. Landed a festival that had the HBO prize, had no clue about at the time, and it just hit us out of nowhere. And next thing you know, we're getting announced that we won the HBO prize at that festival. And then the process from there was a whole nother roller coaster that David could probably tap into first.
Yeah. You know, one, just sticking with it, like sticking to your gut, like we filmed it, like any other creator, you have something to say. You know, most creators, they're creating something to give to the world. So we're gonna tap in. We're gonna tap in. We have sci-fi and fantasy, but we said, yo, let's tap into something that's really deep to us and something that we know the best is our community and what we grew up in. So we wrote something like that. And like Alex said, we did the year of festivals, and it didn't get as much recognition as we assumed, you know. And we look at the product and we see these festivals like rejections, and it is discouraging because you're like, wow, like, hey Al, are they watching the same movie we submitted? Because what they're stuff like, is not a crowd pleaser. It hurts. I'm not gonna lie, you know. It does, like, you like, yeah, ouch. But you just keep it pushing. You submit to another one, and like Alex said, we ended up being submitted to one, and the official Latino festival, and we had no clue that there was any HBO attachment, involvement, or anything. And then they reached out to us and said they loved the project, and we took the win. And then that was like a cool roller coaster right there. Like, cool, we're gonna be on HBO. Cool. That's like, yes. And then HBO hits us with, here's what you got to do to get onto HBO. And we're like, oh no, throwing the towel again. Like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Like, the list is like, it's overwhelming. It's phases. There's multiple phases of things you have to adhere by, because there's programming, there's legal, there's all our music we have to make sure is cleared. Even though we got it cleared, we had to, you know, there's just so much stuff that as filmmakers at our level, I feel like, you know, anytime they license a project, they're licensing it from Universal or these big projects that they just, it's just jargon to them. Oh yeah, someone in this department will do it, someone in this department will do it. But when you're a 4-man team and they give you a list of like 100 things to do, and they have to be at these parameters, and you don't have the budget to get it at this stereo quality, and you don't have this, you just have to say, you know what, guys, either we're going to get there and get the prize, or we're going to fall short. And we pushed through to make sure we made it happen, you know?
Mm-hmm. How long did it take for you guys to transition the film to where it was to being HBO ready?
So November, we started around the mid-November of 2019.
Yeah, 2019.
2019, and we delivered the project a month before April. So from November to March.
Yeah, so it was a 4-month project, but you know, there was a lot of changes. You know, they selected us and they said, "Oh, this film is amazing, but we need all these changes to make sure that we can air it and all these things." So like, it was like going back into post again. You know, we had to redo our score. I think twice over.
Mix.
We had to do the mix. I scurried through because we had made sure we had all the original music. We had to make sure we got it cleared, but it was cleared not for a network. It was cleared for like festivals and stuff like that. Once the network picked it up, I had to find all new artists and make sure the songs matched the scenes, and you know, and so we had to get all new music for it, all new score. We had to cut down, I think, 29, like 3 minutes of it. The cool thing was creatively, I was really excited when they said we had to cut it down. I was like, oh, what are we going to do? But knowing that they told me and Alex, we don't care how you cut it. We just need it under 30, and allowing us the creative leeway to cut our film as we see it and not as they see it. So that I respected and really liked that. I mean, it's still a challenge, but I said, oh, that's cool. Like, they didn't tell us, oh, we don't want this or take this out. It was up to us to figure it out.
That's great. They allowed you to maintain authorship even during the transition process. Yes. And I'll say too, I've seen the first cut and I've seen the latest cut on HBO. And I think you made the transition seamlessly without affecting the creative integrity of the film. Mm-hmm. And speaking of the film, I'd like to, let's start to roll this first clip from the movie. Shows a little bit the intro and introduces our main character. So if we could roll the clip for Slipping into Darkness.
What's up, son? You finally found some time to come see your old man.
No.
The timing, the pacing, the color, the characters, the location, everything is already dripping with personality, and you avoid so many faux pas of starting a dialogue too early. What made you guys decide to start there as the credits roll when a son meets his father in prison?
I think experience. I'm gonna let my amazing director talk, but personally, I think experience. I know both Alex and I know that too well on a personal level that I think writing in detail what you remember is what flowed, and then having a director like Al come through and really take the words and take our memory and put it cinematically. Alex?
Yeah, like first conversations we had, me and David kind of knew that we wanted to start there because you just put the audience right in the world really fast without doing too much and not going crazy with a location and all that stuff. We just you know, this kid, you see the environment, a Latino kid walking into the environment, and he's waiting for something. And then the first thing you see is this man coming in, approaching it, and then next thing you know, it's his dad through dialogue. Right off the bat, you just start, you know, you just set the audience, or like, all right, I know where I'm at. I know where we're getting ourselves into. It's not going to be pretty, you know? And yeah, experience, just like, I mean, going through that, even at the time that I was filming that, I was still going through that, see my dad in jail. So it was very close to home, and it was very, very easy, but very hard, because just tapping into those emotions and just going there was challenging in a personal standpoint of view, but to do it cinematically was a no-brainer, just because we know it really well.
It does show too, especially with just the weight of that phone seems really, really heavy. So you can sense that it's a history, and obviously you say to write from what you know. And I thought it was portrayed in a really
it's crazy, because it is pretty much right what you know. Because I'm sorry if you guys hear the trash can. It's trash day on my side of town, so apologize for that. But no, it's funny, because that same jail that we shot is the same jail I saw my dad throughout my lifespan of my dad being in and out of jail. Is the actual same jail, the same prison. It was an active jail. That wasn't a set. That was actually a location. So going there as a kid and as an adult, watching my dad in the same jail, and then going back to that same jail to shoot that scene, I think that was the most surreal moment. I even told David that day we were on set for that scene, I'm like, bro, well, how fucking crazy it is that I just barely, my dad was here a couple months ago, and I'm back here shooting something that was inspired through those conversations and those moments.
Mm-hmm. And your lead too has such a sympathetic attitude. It comes from a home that experiences strife, and he deals with it just as any person would. And one other note is that the clip is it's dripping with the film is dripping with atmosphere, and there's a lot of visual personality with a gritty look. You have inky shadows, and the color is so distinct. This is for you, Alex. How did you land on the choice for the film's aesthetic?
Well, I'm very stubborn. I fight for what I want, but also, you know what? I just, the cinematographer, Alejandro, he, like, when we got on the phone the first time and we just connected and clicked, and he just started seeing the same visuals that I had, and I just trusting him, and then he trusted me, and then we went back and forth. And with David, it's just a creative process that I enjoy really well. And it's my favorite part of filmmaking, is creating the world and the visuals and the colors. And then having Alejandro with the experience just coming in and just like together collaborating, working on it. It was awesome. And just finding those right moments. Like I could go extravagant and just go into like moving shots and all that stuff, but some of those stories don't need it. It's just framing the shot properly, where you could tell so much in one shot. It was cool, and I was trying to picture the movie in my lens, in my eyes, just like how I will see the world. I want the audience to see the world, because the story's been told multiple times, different ways, but it was just our time to show it in a different perspective and humanize these characters. I think that was Dee's focus on writing the script, is to humanize the stereotypical human of a Mexican thug, or a cholo, or just a Mexican guy, or a dude. That's really what we wanted. This is just a regular dude going through his life and dealing with all the choices his family, himself have made, and just dealing and surviving. That's really what it was. It's just a simplicity of a story, and just making sure you convey properly.
Absolutely. And actually that's a perfect transition to our second clip, which really shows off some of that visual aesthetic and the character development you're talking about, that was shot, wonderfully directed, and also beautifully written. So if we could roll the clip, here we are.
Vete a tu casa, Juan.
Raúl, perdóname, se me fue el tiempo.
Tenías que haber abierto a las 6 de la mañana. We opened 2 hours late because of you.
Come on, it was an accident.
I got a family to take care of, 2 businesses to run. I want to sleep in. But I gotta be here. Go home, Juan.
Raúl.
Go home.
Once again, the movement, the transition. He's late for work. He arrives. It's so relatable. Go home, Juan. Who hasn't heard that? So this question is for you, David. Your characters are believable and they are lived in. Do you ever experience writer's block? I know that you're working on all these different screenplays, but do you ever experience writer's block? And if so, how do you overcome it? And also, how do you ground your characters? Because that was very believable.
Thank you. For the writer block, yes, I'm pretty notorious for that. When I go, I go. When I don't, I don't. But look, this is how I work. So I'm not speaking for anybody. What I will say is, when you feel it, as me being a creator, like I've never been a big 9 to 5. You know, crazy. I was in the Army as long as it was. But being a creator, it's on your time, and but you have to set a deadline, and you have to say, look, if I want this done, I got to do it. So when I'm on the project, I'm on, but I also know, like, if I'm not in the mood, I don't force myself. I read a lot of books, study a lot of stuff where it says, oh, try to write 5 pages a day. And sometimes I try to do that stuff, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I think just learning yourself and learning your flow, like understanding you, like, okay, you know what? You can read all the tutorials, all these self-help books, how to do it, but you have to still apply it to yourself and know what works best for you. So I'm kind of like, when I'm on a go, I go for it. If I need some decompression time, I need to hang with friends, I'm going to take that time. But if also I know if I set a deadline, or if I've told someone, yeah, like, we're going to knock this out in 2 weeks, and we're going to put all the time and effort to get it in 2 weeks. As for the characters, I go in this weird, Alex said earlier, like a mad scientist mode. Like, when I write, I talk out loud. I tell all my characters out loud. I argue to myself if there's an argument scene. I try to, and then also, I personally, I call people I'm really close with inside and outside of the industry, and I ask them scenarios and say, hey, how would you say it? And I hear different people, how they'd say a character. And then I adjust, like, who I saw this character as. And then once I get their tone, then I know every time I'm going to write this character, these are the words they'll say. This is how they'll say it. Like, this guy always says bro. This guy always says dude. You know, and I use certain words and be like, okay, this guy can't sound, because sometimes you get into that. You start writing, and then all my characters sound exactly like David. And I'm like, what the heck? Like this guy over here sounds like me. This guy sounds like me. And I really have to take it back and say, who's this character? What's his motive? How does he push the story along? And is he funny? And then I just go from there.
Well, it's really interesting that you say that you like to read your lines aloud. One of our guests on campus is Aaron Sorkin, and during an interview with him, he said that he's constantly talking to himself, and he'll do the same thing. He'll even write in all the ums and ahs. Yeah. So that technique that you use, mad scientists or not, man, there's method to that madness. And Alex, the performances in this film are tremendous as well. What techniques did you use to allow your cast to really effectively live as their characters?
With this one, really listening to them and their experience, because we strategically cast these people just because of the geography and where they're coming from. So we kind of wanted actors that kind of knew the world, even if they didn't go through it themselves. And then I started in the process before shooting, start picking their brains, calling them, and just making sure, all right, what they thought about the character, and just really listening to them as much as they were listening to me, and give them a sense of a freedom with them in a way. And I have to I have to give it up to them. Like, I didn't have no rehearsing time with them at all, pre or at even shooting the project. So I had to lean on them. As much as they were leaning on me, I had to lean on them and trust them 100%. And they deliver, and I gave them the freedom. And then talking to David too, like, there's sometimes I told him not to be too married to the script as far as dialogue, and just make them their own and see how they would say it. And sometimes it turned out the way we wanted it without even thinking too much about it. And yeah, it's just trusting them and really pushing them and really listening to them and going back and forth with them and just really leaning on him. I leaned on those guys for sure those 5 days.
Did you? Oh, so the film was shot over 5 days?
Yeah.
5 days, five
That's
full
incredible.
straight days.
That's an amazing accomplishment, shooting that whole thing over 5 days.
Yeah, in December, where everybody's taking a break.
Like right before
Wanna be
Christmas.
with
I think it was
family.
like the 14th to the 19th or something like that. It was like, it was crazy.
And I'd like to talk a little bit about the production process too. So, Alex, you're sitting in a particular place that is soon to become quite famous. Describe some of the locations, and also to go back to the prison as well. How were you able to pull off all these different locations? You have exteriors, interiors, multiple houses, and Alex, you're basically sitting on set right now.
It's pretty much, one of the things I enjoyed the film school, it was when I was going at the time, it was super hands-on. So a lot of the teachers' knowledge and experience was what I gravitated to. And there was a teacher, I think it was, at that time it was called Faulty Tower. I don't know what it's called nowadays, but it was part P1 now, or that class. There was a teacher there, an AD, and he told me, get on one foot and hop as long as you could hop. Try to go as far as you can, and that's your location moves. Those are your location moves. So we're like, with budget, with time, and with the skeleton crew that we had, those are those things that I took, and I was like, you know what? So we use my house, we use my grandpa's house, we use an alley that's behind the restaurant, or we consolidated our sets just to shoot in 5 days. And I converted my house, painted yellow. It's still yellow from the film, and saved money there, because one of the things that people don't realize, that location permanent food are the most expensive things on set, on top of everything else. But those things could add up really quick, especially if you're working on the budget. So we utilized, David and I sat down in my living room. I explained the shot, and I think I see it in the living room. And then the DP was like, well, the wall is very white and gray. So it's like, let's give it a color. And I'm like, well, I started thinking, what type of colors do we use? I used to see in my family's homes, and we get this ugly mustard yellow. And I'm still sitting in it 2 years later.
And how were you able to also secure the location at the prison? What was that process like?
Persistence. We looked at a ton of prisons, closed, like set ones, closed ones that they use for productions. And honestly, this for any filmmaker, man, there's no right or wrong way how to go about it. So like, we bugged them. Like, I'm pretty sure Pitch's Detention Center was annoyed of us.
Mm-hmm.
We bugged them because we knew that was the scene, and we ended up getting a case manager assigned to us that was actually just lucked out that he likes movies. So we use that angle, like, oh wait, you like that movie? Oh man, I've seen that too. So we built the bond and started talking to him, and then that gave him the smile and like, oh, you know what, these guys are cool. You know what, let me see what I can do, and that just like really helped us out. But all the scenes, like even like the little placita, like going back to Community, we utilized a lot of stuff in the valley that we go to normally, like, the restaurant we go to, and we just want to say, hey, we're doing this story. We want to show one demographic of our humongous culture, and these are iconic places. These are places that anyone of any color, but people of this world will relate to this, and we would love for you guys to be a part of it. And we were surprised to get more open arms on that end than not. You know, most of the locations on first ask were like, oh yeah, we'll just, let's figure this out. Let me figure out the dates once you guys figure it out. But yeah, this is amazing. Let's do it. And that was really cool.
So you utilize the places that you frequent, your community.
Yes.
And there's a bit of a theme here, which seems to be a through line of networking, like consistent and persistent networking.
Oh yeah. Me and David, and I think mainly me. I'm the one that bugs people, and I get annoying really quick. Like I don't take no for an answer. I'll find a way to get a yes. And so until they don't break it, I'm pushing. I'm literally like, but that all of my teammates. I mean, David does that too in his own ways. We're very persistent, and when we want something, we'll find a way to get it. And I think that's just our hustler mentality as kids growing up too. It's just like, you know, we have to stretch $100. Okay, we'll stretch $100 for the next 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things that we just have it in our system just to push.
And speaking of locations and just also production hurdles, are there any particular hurdles during the production that you faced? Speaking of the hopping on one foot, and how were you able to overcome those hurdles? I'm sensing that there may have been a few.
Well, there was hurdles, but I love my team so much that they kept me away from the hurdles, shooting wise. But I could speak for them after the fact that there was a lot of hurdles and they were just problem solvers. It's just, you know, Murphy's Law exists. When it comes to production, something's gonna happen. Just deal with it, get used to it. It's just the norm, and you just have to really be ready to solve the problem. You know, sometimes it's in a matter of seconds you have to resolve an issue. So there was hurdles. I know one of the hurdles we were fighting time. The DP and I were fighting time because we were shooting in December and sunset is around 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and we had a lot of exterior. So we had to alter the script for like a good part of it. We had to make a different way of shooting the scenes and play out differently. So there was hurdles.
And then production, someone dropped a lens. So in between production, I was dealing with that. No one knew, no one fessed up. Every time Alex said he'd see us three hurdled in a corner talking, he would like look and be like, oh, something's wrong. But we wouldn't tell him because we're like, all right, like he's the director, let's let him focus. And then even like real fast, like even the opening day, the day we were supposed to film, our permits didn't get pushed through. And this fell through crack on both ends. I'm not like, there were 4 guys taking on so much, and it just fell through. We had submitted everything. We thought it was ready, and we just didn't get the okay. We didn't get the certain check mark. So we're thinking, and I'm reading in the morning. I'm like, bro, these aren't valid. Like, this is just like, we're still missing like the official, like, this is good. So everyone's stressing. It's the morning of. I'm a stressor too sometimes. So sometimes I'm kind of like, fine, throw in the towel. I'm done, man. I guess. And instead, we grouped up and we sent 2 of our partners to go. They were there all day, and we said, you know what, we'll guerrilla this. We'll consider this guerrilling since the permits aren't valid yet. But they came through hours later, and a lot of persistence. They came through with all the permits done. But it's sink or swim. Like when the fire starts, are we gonna put it out, or are we gonna let it just ablaze? And luckily, the team was always trying to put them out,
Yeah, and also, this is a safe space. It's just the 3 of us. So you can feel free to call out whoever you think dropped the lens.
Hey, I was going to know.
So, of course, no. But David, in your screenwriting process, you said that you don't really have a page count that you try to hit every day. But what is with your schedule and your regimen and your team who are also working on different screenplays, what is your process for writing? What's a good day's worth of writing for you?
Good day. It depends, but I mean, recently, like, kind of like a scene that I wrote. I was kind of grew up with a lot of people coming in and out of my house, cousins and whatnot. So like, I function with noise. So if it's quiet, something just isn't right. So sometimes I have a TV on, music playing, and I just get in the zone. With currently the project we're working on, me and the fellows, we do the outline. We break down all the episodes, and then we break them into who's taking the episode, and then chronologically, and then we'll start, but then we're checking in with each other, and then we make a deadline. Okay, in 2 days we're gonna meet back up and see where we're at, and if you're done with it, cool. We're gonna wait for everyone to catch up, read them, make sure the storyline's still following. If we need to fill in gaps, and then we'll move to the next ones to follow up. So so I think that's what I've been doing, and I mean, actually I'm really motivated because I mean, with this HBO and, you know, all the love of everybody for the film, it's exciting. So it gets me excited to be like, yo, I need to crank these out. So right now I'm on go mode right now.
That's awesome. And do you use like anything that helps you, like flashcards or like
Yeah.
We found this cool app.
Yes, we actually use flashcards. Actually, when we first broke down the series, we did the traditional flashcards. But here, let me so I could tell everybody. There's this app called Pinup, you know, and since we are all social distancing and stuff like that, there's an app that you can all connect with, and it's
Corkboard.
like, yes, it's a full corkboard, and it's all virtual. But it's the whole process of putting a corkboard up, and you can break down your scenes and put all the characters up. But the cool thing, it's in real time, so all 4 of us are logged on. So when someone's typing and making changes, I could see it happening right here on the board and everything. So that's been a cool tool for all of us. And we just notify, hey, I added this note right here. Hey, so taking the old school, putting it on an actual board and doing it virtually is really cool.
That's great. And also the fact that it's collaborative, which is especially helpful right now when
it looks
like, hey, come on over.
It looks like this.
Oh, nice.
So this is our season breakdown, and it has multiple corkboards, and you can do multiple ones, and it just.
And from there, you break down the season, then we break down per episode, and then it's been fun though.
Well, actually, that's a great point of transition too. So, you know, what are your future plans? You've done the festival circuit. You were in the Veterans Film Festival here at the LA Film School on HBO. What does the future look like for Slipping into Darkness?
D.
Alex? Okay. we're both handing over the torch. Honestly,
we would love it to be a series.
Yeah.
And the focus is that. Don't know when or how or where it's gonna go, but yeah, we're focusing on a series for Slipping into Darkness.
And basically, we want to take the same approach. When we did this film, we had attached some amazing actors and some out of our league that were like, when we reached out to them, when I sent it to their agents or whatever and spilled my heart in an email and got them to say yes, right? We're going to play the same part, you know, and with this being on HBO now, it's opened the door to the community. Like, we've had a lot of actors that I've been interested in talking, like, view it or you know, so it opens that to attach some people. So
in those conversations,
we could wrap it all up and present it to HBO and say, hey, let's get something going together, you know?
That's really exciting.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think this film's got legs. There's a story, characters that you believe in. I'm like, I can't wait to find out what this next chapter is. And I hope that there are chapters to follow, as you guys are, you know, aspiring to do. What's a word of advice that you'd like to share to aspiring filmmakers who want to follow in your footsteps of writing, you know, meeting one another, collaborating, creating a film, submitting it to festivals, and getting onto HBO with further prospects in the pipeline?
I will start off by saying, get out of your comfort zone.
Perfect. Yeah.
For sure, get out of your comfort zone, network, talk to people, and not just your class. I mean, your classmates you're very close to, so you should start there, but expand. Like I know for example, any film students that go to LA Film and they're not going right now because of the situation, but when you go back, you see those group of people just standing outside. The majority crew that I work with are alumni. I met them outside of the school, and we just started a conversation and then move forward. Get out of your comfort zone, listen, and just be persistent and just don't stop. And even if you have a small idea, put it on paper and just revisit it later on, or just keep on doing. And it's easier said than done because of obstacles in life, but if you have the passion for it, you find a way to just push through it for sure.
Oh, fantastic. And how about you, David?
I would say, I mean, Alex hit it, man. Network and talk to other people, but create. Like, it has to start somewhere. And if you have something that you want the world to see, you can't, don't be scared. Whether it's good or bad criticism, the point is you feel good because you got it out. So just get it out there. And it's hard, but keep networking. We've met plenty of people and been on a lot of sets. We've worked on projects that were amazing and other ones that were bad experiences, but you learn from that for your next project and you just keep it pushing.
Thank you. So through line of persistence, get out of your comfort zone, try it, create the film that you want to see. A lot of inspiring words from you both. We couldn't be more proud of you with your film and with your future projects too. So thank you for being an inspiration to us and to our students. I know that you guys have to jump onto a conference call, but thank you so much for taking the time for this Q&A. Definitely keep us updated. So I'd like to thank everybody for watching this live stream.
We could have a part 2. We'll be back. We could actually
thank you guys.
questions.
Absolutely. So yes, please, take care and check out Slipping into Darkness, streaming now on HBO. Thanks again, everybody. We'll see you later.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.